The injuries are beginning to pile up for the Atlanta Braves, and unfortunately, so are the losses with a tough weekend against the San Diego Padres. We'll discuss that, but things might be looking better at the minor league level, and we'll discuss that as well today on our Minors Monday episode of Locked On Braves. So let's get into it.
You are Locked On Braves, your daily Atlanta Braves podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, and welcome back to Locked On Braves, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your favorite Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I am your host, Jake Mastriani. You can follow me on Twitter at ShortstopBall. Also, check out my written work over at BravesToday.com. Make sure you follow the podcast on Twitter at LockedOn_Braves. Send in any questions, comments, or feedback that you have for the podcast. If you're new and watching on YouTube, please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. And if you are watching this on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button to help support the video and the show. Thanks as always for making Locked On Braves your first listen of each and every day. We post episodes daily, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and are free and available on all platforms. And today's episode is brought to you by Ultimate Baseball GM. Ever dreamed of becoming an MLB GM and managing your baseball franchise? Then this game is definitely for you. To download the game, just visit ultimatebaseballgm.com or look it up in all caps in the App Store, or our listeners get a 100% free bonus to their franchise when using the promo code Locked On in all caps in the game. Rough weekend for the Atlanta Braves, certainly no doubt about it. After an exciting walk-off win on Thursday, really was a lot of downhill after that. We'll discuss that, some possible lineup issues, obviously injuries piling up, becoming a concern. We're also going to continue our Minors Monday segment as we have all the minor league seasons underway now, just a couple of games for some of those at the lower levels. So we'll recap some of that, including Vaughn Grissom, who continues to be off to a hot start. Braves could use his bat right now. We'll discuss that later in the episode. But let's start out by looking at the Atlanta Braves and the weekend that they had. Again, a very disappointing, frustrating weekend all around. Home opener was great. I was glad I was there for that one. Sorry to those of you who missed that one and went to some of the others over the weekend. But Thursday night was just fantastic, and we talked about that. Me and Grant recapped that on last Friday's episode. If you want to go back and give that a listen to get some more positive feelings about the Atlanta Braves, because things were looking really good for them at that point. And it's crazy what can happen 3 games later. Now Twitter is in an uproar. The season is over. Everybody is down on the Braves. Let's pump the brakes for just a minute and take a step back. After 10 games through the season, the Braves are 6-4. I mean, that is still obviously a very good start, especially compared to some of the other starts to the seasons that they've had. But there's no question injuries are starting to pile up. And while the Braves do have some good depth, you can only take on so much, especially when you're playing a good team like the Padres. You can only take on so much. And I mean, right now you're without Michael Harris, who you lost, early in this series. You're without Travis d'Arnaud, who was one of the best hitters for the Braves early in this season. And now you're without 2 of your top 3 relievers, which I think is a big key in all of this. Yes, the Braves bullpen is good and it has plenty of depth, but you're talking about losing some of your best guys in the bullpen, and Iglesias and McHugh. I mean, Iglesias was going to be your closer, McHugh, one of your setup guys, and now it's AJ Venters, your only lockdown reliever that you can fully trust out of the bullpen. Yes, other guys can get it done and have gotten it done. Jesse Chavez has got it done. Michael Tompkins looked pretty good at times. So, I mean, there are other guys there, Dylan Lee as well, who I think is being somewhat underutilized so far early in this season. So they have other guys who can get it done. But when you talk about your best relievers, you got a game you need to close out, it's really AJ Minter right now. And you're kind of hoping some of these other guys can get it done in those clutch situations. And the series not really on the bullpen in my mind, but they are getting overworked. They are losing some key guys. It's just hard to overcome that. And then you look at the rotation, you're still without Max Fried. Kyle Wright hasn't returned yet. Hopefully that's going to happen early this week. And he looks like the Kyle Wright that we saw last year. Your 3/5 of your rotation right now are Jared Schuster, Dylan Dodd, and Bryce Elder, and guys that I think can be solid major league pitchers at the back of a rotation, but you're counting on those three guys in a big way right now early in the season while also dealing with a bullpen that is shorthanded. That's not a good recipe. And then when the offense goes cold, as it did over the weekend, that's a really, really bad recipe. And the offense did fall hard over the weekend. After getting off to such a hot start, then, like I said, you lose Michael Harris, you lose Travis d'Arnaud, who was one of your better hitters to begin the season. And the offense was pretty much silent in the last 3 games of the series against the Padres. And I tweeted this out on Sunday night, but 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position in those last 3 games, only 2 extra base hits, 1 a home run by Ozuna, 1 a double by Matt Olson. That is it. And the Braves are built for power. And we saw it obviously early in the season. That power's not coming. This team's going to struggle to score runs. And it just seems like they continued to wait on that 2 and 3 run homer, and they weren't getting it. And, perhaps the cold temperatures played somewhat of a factor in that, but that can't be your excuse. They just weren't getting it done. And, obviously we talked about the injuries. That's another excuse we're making here, but they just didn't get it done, and they need players to step up. And it really comes down to those guys, 4 through 7 in the order right now that just aren't getting it done. The top 3 are getting it done. Acuna, Olsen, and Riley, those guys are doing it. Orlando Arcia at the bottom of the order, he's getting it done. It's those guys in the middle right now that just aren't contributing enough. You look at Ozzy, who's really struggling, a rough day on Sunday. He had that infield single, but honestly just looked overmatched in the other at-bats on Sunday and just hasn't had a great start to the year. Ozuna has 2 hits. They're both home runs, which is great. You heard me say it all offseason. He gives you nothing in between those home runs. He gives you absolutely nothing. Now, he's done a better job of taking his walks this year, and we're talking about a 10-game sample size. But again, you're not getting much from Ozuna. You're not really getting anything from Eddie Rosario, although I'll say I thought he squared up a couple of balls in this series that unfortunately just went right at some outfielders. So, he's not getting the batted ball luck when he makes soft contact, and he's not getting the batted ball luck when he makes hard contact. It's just really been a frustrating start for Eddie Rosario. And then Sean Murphy, had a couple hits to start the series, not much after that. And now he's going to be counted on, pretty much every day with Travis d'Arnaud out, which I think could ultimately be a good thing for him to get those reps because, the 1 day off, 1 day on type of situation we had with Sean Murphy early on, I don't think that's conducive for him either. I think he needs to be out there every day. But those guys, Ozzy, Murphy, Ozuna, Rosario, not getting it done. And the top of the order needs some help. And they're just not getting it right now. And that's a big reason why the offense struggled so much over the weekend. Dodd and Schuster looked somewhat overmatched in their second starts. Schuster's still struggling with that command, especially early in the game. Something's got to change there. And then Dodd perhaps got a little bit of exposed against a really, really good Padres lineup. And I need to make that point clear. That Padres team, them and the Braves, I think when you fully healthy, you look at those 2 lineups, and I think they're 2 of the best in all of baseball. So this Padres team, very good. Many people pick them to be the best team in the National League right there with the Braves. So very good Padres team, a very good Padres lineup. And I think you just saw them quickly make that adjustment to Dylan Dodd, and he was not able to adjust back in that start. So again, I still very much believe in those guys, and I think they're going to play a role throughout the season, but they did get a little bit exposed. Schuster just continues to struggle with that command. None of the Braves starters in this series, even Spencer Strider and Charlie Morton, who both went 5 innings, neither of them got an out in the 6th inning, taxing what was already a shorthanded bullpen and a tired bullpen. Again, bad recipe for a team right now when you're not getting much length out of your starters. You got a bullpen that's banged up, that's tired, that's had to work a lot early in this season, and is shorthanded. That's not a good recipe. The Braves need more length out of their starters, and they're just not getting it right now, even from their more established guys like Strider, like Morton. For me, I thought coming in this weekend, I thought they had a chance to lose the Schuster and Dodd games just because young pitchers going up against a very good lineup. But it's the Friday game for me that the Braves just, the Saturday game for me, the Morton game. That's the one the Braves got to win. And you strike out 10 times against Michael Wacha. That to me was the more frustrating of the 3 games. You win that one, you split this series, that's fine. But not being able to win that game and the offense just really struggling, that to me was the most frustrating part because this team is banged up and they're going to be against a good Padres team. But that was the one to me that I felt like the Braves needed to come out, win that game, settle things down for that Sunday night game where you're going in with a chance to either win the series or leave with a split. And that just didn't happen, and the Braves weren't able to get it done. But long way to go. We're 10 games in. Let's not overreact too much to a 3-game losing streak here. Hopefully the Braves can get back on track this coming up week, starting in Cincinnati, which we'll talk about later in the episode. But next, I want to get into our minor league update for the week, which we'll do every Monday throughout the season, updating you on the best performances at the minor league level, including a Vaughn Grissom update, who just continues to be hot to start the season. Could he be the best option at DH for the Braves right now? We'll talk about that next. Everyone's always looking for a great fantasy game to see how they would do as GM of a baseball team. And if you are one of those people, then I have the app just for you. As Ultimate Pro Baseball GM, a mobile game that lets you manage your own professional baseball franchise to try and build a World Series champion, manage every strategic aspect of your team, play through the season, and lead your team to glory. You're responsible for hiring the right coaches and staff, managing difficult personalities, managing your finances, scouting and drafting players, navigating your franchise through free agency, all the ups and downs of a season, all this in a challenging and realistic game world. Ultimate Baseball GM is completely free and playable offline. Play on the go as you want and when you want to. And Locked On Braves listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo code Locked On in the game store. So make sure you check it out. To download the game, again, just visit probaseballgm.com, scan the code, or look it up on the app stores. That's probaseballgm.com. Ultimate Baseball GM. Start your dynasty today. Are you like me and you subscribe to several different subscription services, and sometimes you lose track of those subscription services? You see the 30-day free trial out there, you try it just enough time for you to forget that you have it. If you are like me, or you are one of those people, then you got to use RocketMoney to help you stay in control of those subscriptions so you don't continue paying for the ones you don't use. RocketMoney is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Over 80% of people have subscriptions they forget about, and chances are you're one of them. Again, I am as well. You know, that Star subscription, that 7-day free trial they keep trying to get you to sign up for just to watch the one show that you want to. And then at the end of your free trial, you never actually used it. Let RocketMoney help you with that. Let RocketMoney remind you to cancel that or to cancel it for you. RocketMoney helps you manage all your finances in one place as well, and automatically categorizes your expenses so you can easily track your budget in real time and also get alerted if anything looks off. I use RocketMoney. They send me stuff all the time that looks off, and no, unfortunately, that is something that we bought. Stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/LockedOnMLB. That's rocketmoney.com/LockedOnMLB. All right, well, if you were frustrated with the Atlanta Braves over the weekend, then perhaps you'll be a little bit more excited about our Minors Monday segment to talk about some of the biggest minor league prospects for the Atlanta Braves who had some good weeks this past week. Mentioned all minor league, full season minor league teams underway now: Gwinnett, Mississippi, Rome, Augusta. Unfortunately, weather caused some havoc this past weekend, so a lot of teams didn't get too many games in, but they're all underway now, and that is certainly great. Starting with Gwinnett, Vaughn Grissom this past week, 8 for 21, a double, a walk, no strikeouts. And so far this season, he's slashing 394, 487, 667, 2 doubles, 2 triples, and a home run in 8 games. Now, I know the Braves are going to continue to work him at shortstop. That's great. I got to think he keeps hitting like this, you know, especially throughout this first month, and especially with the injuries that the Braves have. they need his bat. I mean, whether that's bringing him up and put him at DH, obviously you're not going to replace Orlando Arcia the way he's playing right now, but bringing Grissom up, put him at DH. I think the bat is just so good. I think at some point you have to consider if the Braves really do need help and they can't get healthy and other guys continue to struggle. Again, I'm not saying now, but I'm saying in 2-3 weeks, the beginning of next month, do the Braves call up Vaughn Grissom and just find a way to get his bat in the lineup? Is it that good that it just can't be ignored anymore? I mean, the way he's hitting right now, it certainly seems to be going that way. Now, unfortunately, Braden Shoemake not off to a great start, batting .200 to begin things, no walks, 9 strikeouts. Now, did have a better game on Sunday, had a couple of hits, and Garrett Spain, who does a great job covering the Braves minor league system, talked about his hard hit rate and how it has actually been really good. He just hasn't been able to get any hits to go down. A lot of them either been put into the ground or popped up into the air. So hopefully Braden Shoemake gets it going pretty soon at the plate. And then Alan Winans, what a start to the year for him. He relieved Michael Soroka in his first start and threw 4 no-hit innings to close out the game with 9 strikeouts. Overall this season, 9 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 2 walks, 4 earned, 13 strikeouts. So a really good start to the year for Alan Winans. Kyle Wright made his rehab start with Gwinnett, 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 walk, 5 earned, 6 strikeouts. Certainly don't love to see that 5 earned, but I love to see 6 innings. So got his work in. Michael Soroka, 3 2/3, 4 hits, no walks, 1 earned, 3 strikeouts. Love to see the no walks for Soroka. Love to see him just out there. I think he threw 61 pitches. He should pitch again on Tuesday night, continuing to stretch, get stretched out. So good stuff for Michael Soroka. Again, just happy anytime he's back on the mound. Down at Mississippi, Cody Milligan off to a great start for the Mississippi Braves. 5 for 12, 3 doubles, and 2 walks in 3 games. So really hot start there for Cody Milligan. Again, for some of these other lower levels, we're talking very small sample sizes. They didn't get a chance to play a ton this week. Tanner Gordon, though, had a good start. 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, no earned, and 3 strikeouts. And Victor Vodnik sent him down to Mississippi, which I think is somewhat noteworthy for a guy that was kind of knocking on the door, but then had a rough spring. But a really good start for him at Mississippi. 2 innings, no hits, no walks, very key, and 2 strikeouts. Again, he's somebody that the stuff is there, has to get control of his pitches, learn how to command them better. And then I think, he could be a quick riser up to the Braves bullpen if needed. So good start to him, 2 innings, and again, no walks, very key for Victor Vodnik. As he tries to get things together. Down at Rome, got to start with my guy, Ignacio Alvarez. 2 for 8 to start the season, a double, 4 runs batted in, a walk, 2 strikeouts, and a stolen base when playing some shortstop as well. So, small sample size, but a solid start for Ignacio Alvarez. And then Keyshawn Ogun as well at Rome. 2 hits, a double, and 2 walks. Again, small sample size for these lower levels right now. We'll have a lot more stats to talk about next week, hopefully. And then finally at Augusta, Tyler Collins, 3 for 6, 2 stolen bases. EJ Exposito, 3 for 4, a double, home run, 5 RBI. And Yoris Taveras down there at Augusta, 2 for 6, but with 4 strikeouts. So far, either gotten a hit or struck out. And then Spencer Schwellenbach made his professional debut, an inning and 2/3, no hits, did walk 2, obviously going to be a little rusty, no earned runs, and a strikeout. So great to see him out on the mound. Going to be one of those prospects that we keep a close eye on all throughout the season. So glad to see minor league baseball underway at all levels now. It'll be a lot of fun as we do these minors Monday updates throughout the season as I update you on the prospects having the biggest weeks for the Braves. So again, we'll do that all throughout this upcoming season. All right, next we'll talk about some news and notes and then set you up for this series with the Cincinnati Reds. We'll do that next. Our new sponsor, So Rare, is a revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace transforming fans into owners with officially licensed digital cards featuring players from across all 30 MLB teams. Unlike other fantasy baseball platforms, So Rare managers truly own their fantasy experience, collecting, buying, selling, and competing with player cards against global opponents to win epic rewards. Win or lose, you still own your cards and there's no cost to play. MLB game weeks happen twice weekly and span a 3 to 4 day cycle. At the end of game week, So Rare MLB managers who rank at or near the top of their leaderboards win a variety of rewards, which can include So Rare scarcity cards, game tickets, merchandise, signed jerseys, and VIP experiences like meeting MLB stars. Prizes may vary depending on the level of competition. Head to sorare.com/lockedon. That's SORARE.com to draft your team of free player cards, set your lineup, and start competing today to win epic rewards. Again, that's sorare.com/lockedon to start playing today. We talked about Michael Harris going on the IL last week, as well as Colin McHugh. Again, we've mentioned earlier in the episode, Travis d'Arnaud is now on the IL as well, on the concussion IL with that collision he had at home plate with Rougned Odor. Looked like a really rough collision for me. I was a bit surprised he stayed in that game, especially with concussion issues he's had in the past. But he is now out, and obviously it's going to be a very scary and serious situation there for Travis d'Arnaud, but hopefully he's okay and able to come back soon. But that's really it for the news update on the weekend. Again, hopefully Kyle Wright is going to be coming back. Wasn't much of an update on Max Fried. He's continuing to throw. The Braves now just need to see him running on that leg. A lot of people have joked, and I did as well. I saw it at the home opener, him jogging out on the field. That was certainly good to see. But the Braves do need to see him, get back running. They're not concerned about his arm. Like I said, continuing to throw. Hasn't thrown off a mound yet, but he's capable of coming back or eligible to come back April 16th. So hopefully he'll be in line for that. Need Iglesias back. Haven't really heard anything more about McHugh since he went on the IL, other than that was, precautionary. All these things right now are precautionary. I think Michael Harris is going to be good to come back after his 10 days on the IL, but need these guys to come back and need them to play up to their level and help the Braves get on a roll here. Next up, Cincinnati Reds. Rebuilding team. Should be an opportunity for the Braves to get back on track, win a series, sweep a series. Would certainly be great because the schedule does get more difficult as the month goes on. On Monday, it'll be Bryce Elder versus Ashcroft for the Reds. You need some of what we saw in St. Louis with Bryce Elder. Like I said, Braves didn't have a starter getting out in the 6th inning in this past series. And now you're looking to Elder to hopefully do that for you Monday against the Reds. But the Braves need it. Continue to command the strike zone. Trust his stuff in the strike zone. It's what I always say with Bryce Elder because there's so much movement on his pitches. Trust those pitches. Trust him in the strike zone. Trust your defense behind you. If Bryce Elder can do that, I think he'll be very successful on Monday night. As far as the Reds, lost 2 of 3 to the Phillies over the weekend. They gave up 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th on Saturday, or else they could have very easily won that series against the Phillies. But they do salvage a game on Sunday to avoid the sweep against Philadelphia and help out the Braves a little bit. As far as the Braves, though, the key for me in this series, got to get the offense going. Got to get it back to what we saw early in the season. I know you're missing some key bats, but still, I believe in Ozzie Albies. I believe in Sean Murphy. I even believe in Eddie Rosario. I don't necessarily believe as much in Marcelo Ozuna, but I think, those guys can be successful, and we just haven't seen it yet. And we just need some help for that top of the order who are getting things done, and we're just not seeing it in that middle part. Even Sam Hilliard has been getting hits, and Orlando Arcia continuing to do what he does at the bottom of the order. It's those guys in the middle there that really need to step up and help out the rest of this Braves lineup. And, obviously going against a Reds team, again, rebuilding, does have some good pitchers, but this could be an opportunity for the Braves to break out offensively a little bit, do a better job with runners in scoring position. Also looking for that power to come back as well. Only 2 extra base hits in their last 3 games. You're not going to see that a lot for this Braves offense throughout the season. Maybe switch up the lineup a little bit. Try some different lineup, conjunction or structure. I don't really want to mess with Arcia because he's doing so well at the bottom of the order, but maybe you move him up there. I've said all along, I like Ozzie better in the 5th, 6th spot in the order. He's been asked, to hit cleanup some. I just don't think that's a great spot for him in the batting lineup. I really want to see my guy Eli White get a chance. Let him get an opportunity at DH over Ozuna, see what he can do. At least, he has some speed if he gets on base. can steal a bag, can score runs. So try something, to get the offense going right now. They're clearly struggling a little bit. It is a small sample size. It's 3 games, but we'd like to see Snitker shake things up a little bit in this series, see if he can't get the offense going while they're missing a couple of key guys. But need to win this series. That is an understatement after coming off a series loss at home to a really good Padres team. But, facing this Reds team with the schedule that Braves have coming up, really got to win this one against the Cincinnati Reds, and we'll see if they can do that starting on Monday. That will do it for this episode of Locked On Braves. Thanks so much for making Locked On Braves your first listen of each and every day. Now go make your second listen to Locked On MLB Prospects podcast with host Lindsey Crosby, where he talks about the biggest and brightest stars of tomorrow. Again, thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at LockedOn_Braves. You can follow me at ShortstopBall. Also, make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe to the Locked On Braves podcast wherever you get your podcast, and we will talk to you next time.